You don't get what you want, you get what you're in alignment with. That's not just motivational talk, that's a spiritual law. In the book of James, it says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways and should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Why? Because when your desires are not aligned with your identity, you create spiritual friction. Most people have been taught to want things, but very few have been taught how to become the kind of person who attracts and sustains those things. Desire without alignment is a form of deception. You can desire a beautiful marriage, but if you've got unresolved bitterness, a selfish nature, and an unwillingness to communicate, you're not going to attract a healthy partner. You can desire financial success, but if your relationship with money is rooted in fear, lack, or guilt, you'll sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. Wanting alone does not manifest outcomes. Alignment does. And alignment starts with understanding who you are, what you believe, and how you consistently behave. You see, the law of attraction doesn't just work off your wish list. It works off your belief system. Your beliefs are like magnets. They draw in circumstances, people, and opportunities that match their frequency. When you operate from a belief that says, I'm not good enough, or I never get ahead, or people like me don't win, you'll notice that life keeps proving you right. Not because the world is against you, but because your subconscious mind is steering your behavior toward outcomes that validate your belief. That's how powerful you are. You are always creating, either by design or by default. The key to shifting this is not to work harder for what you want, but to become a match for it. If you want peace, you have to start becoming a peaceful person. If you want wealth, you have to embody the mindset, discipline, and stewardship of a wealthy individual. If you want love, you have to be loving, not just to others, but to yourself. You can't walk around tearing yourself down in your thoughts and then wonder why people don't respect you. You attract based on your energetic signature, your internal frequency. That frequency is shaped by your emotions, your habits, your language, and your actions. You can't fake energy. You can say all the right affirmations and still attract chaos if your inner world is full of turmoil. That's why people who read every self-help book still feel stuck. Information without transformation leads to frustration. You can want something with all your heart, but if your character is not in alignment with that thing, the universe will withhold it, not as punishment, but as protection. Because God will not bless you beyond the capacity of your character. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you want to be a six-figure entrepreneur. You say it every day, you write it on your vision board, you even tell your friends about your big goals. But when Monday morning rolls around, you're hitting snooze 5 times, scrolling through your phone for 2 hours, avoiding important calls, and procrastinating on your business strategy. Your actions are telling the truth about your identity. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is where frustration lives. The good news is that alignment is not about perfection, it's about intention. The moment you begin to shift your identity, your world begins to shift with you. It starts internally. You start seeing yourself differently. You stop saying, I want to be successful, and you start declaring, I am a disciplined, high-value creator. You begin to make decisions from your future self, not your past pain. That's how alignment is built. One choice at a time. One behavior at a time. Think about how Jesus operated. He never walked around begging people to believe in him. He embodied who he was. His identity was never in question. When he spoke with authority. When he walked into a room, atmosphere shifted. Why? Because he was aligned with his divine identity. That same principle applies to you. When you walk in alignment with your God-given purpose, things begin to flow. people begin to notice. Opportunities start appearing. Doors open that no man can shut, not because of luck, but because of alignment. But alignment requires pruning. You've got to let go of the old version of yourself that's attached to your limitations. You've got to release the stories you've been telling yourself about why you can't have it, why it's hard, why it never works for people like you. Those stories are weights, and as long as you carry them, you will keep attracting evidence to support them. You can't fly into your future if you're anchored to your past. Start auditing your alignment. What do your thoughts look like when nobody's watching? What are you meditating on throughout the day? What kind of people are in your circle? Do they reflect your vision or your past? What does your routine say about your self-worth? You cannot attract abundance from a mindset of scarcity. You cannot attract excellence while operating in mediocrity. You cannot attract love while bathing in self-hate. This is not about judgment. It's about awareness. And awareness is the first step to alignment. The scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That means your external reality is not determined by your external environment. It's determined by your internal environment. Your heart, your spirit, your mind. Those are the real battlegrounds. If you win the inner war, the outer world will fall into place. You don't need to manipulate circumstances. You need to master your state of being. So don't ask, how do I get what I want? Ask instead, how do I become who I need to be to receive what I want effortlessly? Because the truth is, when you become it, you attract it. The other thing that I hate is the truth is, when you become it, you attract it. The work isn't out there. It's in here. And when you do the inner work, the outer results cannot help but respond. That's not motivation. That's law. That's kingdom. That's alignment. If you want to change what you attract, you must first change who you are on the inside. Everything you desire, every goal, every dream, every breakthrough is already aligned with a specific version of you. The challenge is that most people are trying to drag their old identity into their new destiny, and it doesn't work. God's system is not set up for that. Identity drives reality. Who you believe you are sets the thermostat for your life. If your internal identity is set on lack, you'll sabotage abundance. If it's set on unworthy, you'll push away love. If it's set on average, you'll find a way to stay stuck even when you're given a winning opportunity. This is why transformation is never about behavior modification first. It's about identity elevation. You've got to upgrade your internal blueprint. Think of your life like a building. The blueprint determines the outcome. You can't build a skyscraper on a blueprint for a shack. In the same way, you can't live a wealthy, joyful, purpose-driven life if your self-impeach is still rooted in trauma, insecurity, or limitation. The outside world responds to your inner programming. If you keep attracting the same type of toxic relationships, the same financial struggles, the same emotional cycles, it's not because life is unfair. It's because your subconscious blueprint is still leading you to repeat patterns that match who you believe you are. The most dangerous identity is the one you're not aware of. Because what you tolerate internally, you will attract externally. You might say you want success, but if deep down you believe you're not good enough, not smart enough, or not worthy, then your subconscious mind will go to work proving that belief right. That's not because you're broken. That's because your subconscious is designed to protect the identity you've accepted, even if that identity is keeping you small. So when we talk about attracting what you are, we're really talking about a spiritual law. You don't attract what you say, you attract what you are. And what you are is shaped by your identity. Identity is built through repetition, reinforcement, and reflection. What you consistently say to yourself, what you reinforce with your habits, and what you allow to define you, that forms your internal blueprint. If your entire life you've been told you'll never amount to anything, and you never challenge that narrative, it becomes your truth. Not the truth, but your truth. And your truth becomes your vibration, and that vibration becomes your magnet. So instead of trying to force a new result, you must focus on forming a new identity. Let's get practical. If you want to attract wealth, you must start behaving like someone who believes they're worthy of wealth. Not just dreaming about money, but developing the habits, mindset, and emotional regulation of a person who handles wealth with wisdom. If you want to attract peace, you can't keep entertaining drama. You've got to become a person who values peace over being right, peace over chaos, peace over noise. If you want to attract love, you've got to stop betraying yourself. You've got to love you first. That means speaking to yourself with compassion, forgiving your past, setting boundaries, and refusing to settle for anything less than God's best. The process of becoming who you're meant to be isn't about adding more. It's often about subtracting, removing false identities, releasing limiting beliefs, and letting go of toxic attachments. That's why the Bible says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You can't step into your future with an expired identity. God has called you higher, but that calling requires a version of you that you haven't fully embraced yet. And here's the key. Your external life cannot outgrow your internal identity. If you want a new level of results, you need a new level of identity. This doesn't mean you fake it. This means you faith it. You begin to see yourself as God sees you. You begin to affirm truths that feel unfamiliar. You begin to carry yourself not based on where you've been, but where you're going. This is where most people miss it. They keep rehearsing their past instead of rehearsing their future. Your imagination is a divine tool. It's not meant to keep reliving trauma. It's meant to pre-live transformation. You've got to train your mind to see your new identity so clearly that your subconscious accepts it as the new normal. This identity shift will influence every area of your life. When you believe you are powerful, you'll stop tolerating powerlessness. When you believe you are valuable, you'll stop begging for attention. When you believe you are enough, you'll stop settling for less. And here's the supernatural part. When your identity upgrades, your behavior will follow naturally. You won't have to force discipline. It will become your default. You won't have to chase people. They'll be drawn to your confidence. You won't have to stress about money. It will begin to flow toward the structure you've created. Let me say it plain. Your results are always catching up to your self-image. That's why two people can take the same course, read the same books, and get completely different outcomes. It's not about information, it's about identity. Your internal blueprint filters everything. It determines what you believe is possible, what you believe you deserve, and how you respond to challenges. So the real work is not chasing the goal. The real work is becoming the person for whom that goal is normal. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream early in life, but he had to go through a transformation process before that dream could manifest. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown in prison, but through it all, God was developing his identity. He had to learn how to lead in private before he could rule in public. He had to become the kind of man who could handle the responsibility that the dream required. And when the time came, his identity was already aligned with his destiny. That same principle applies to you. Stop asking when it's going to happen Start asking, who do I need to become so that when it happens, I'm ready? Identity is the container. Blessings can only be poured into containers that are prepared to hold them. If your character can't sustain what your mouth is asking for, you'll lose it even if you get it. That's why God delays some things, not to deny you, but to develop you. You attract what you're in harmony with, and harmony starts on the inside. You have to cultivate thoughts, emotions, and actions that resonate with the future you're building. When your identity is elevated, your vibration changes. And when your vibration changes, your environment begins to respond. People treat you differently. Opportunities show up. Resources find you. Not because you're lucky, but because you've become the person who naturally attracts that reality. This is the secret most people miss. They try to manipulate outcomes instead of mastering identity. But once you become it, you won't have to chase anything. It will find you. Because what you are always attracts what is in alignment with you. That's not just success. That's spiritual law in motion.